Hello everyone. So obviously we have a different setup today. I am actually going to open up my stream as well, just so I can actually watch the chat. Let's just get into it here. I guess I could have actually like set it up so you had the like coming soon, but whatever. I wasn't thinking. We're going to make sure that my computer is muted. And then I will see the chat. There we go. Sweet. This is super cool. So let's just transition the actual laptop over here so that you can, I guess you can actually see me right here instead. There we go. All right, so there's a bit of a delay in between the actual stream and what I'm like me talking and seeing it on the stream. I don't know why, but that's okay. But yeah, so basically I'll be able to watch everything on the computer screen here. You'll be able to watch my face now instead of me just chatting. And then we're going to actually work right here on the cutting table. So today we are working on getting cake cozies and grime guards cut. And yeah, this is really weird to see me delayed on the actual stream. Whoops. I'm just wondering if I can actually view the chat in my mini feed as well. Let me just see if that works. I'm going to assume that I can actually see it, but what I'm working with is I'm actually working with Streamlabs. This is the first time working with this program, so I have no clue how this is all going to go. We'll see. We're gonna try moving the mini feed and see if that is actually the chat, or if I need to do a chat overlay maybe on my side. I'm not 100% sure. So, but let's try this out and see what happens. It is Friday, August 18th, 2023, and yeah, let's just, I guess, get right into it. So some of these scraps, basically we are scrap sorting today. Some of these scraps are going to actually be set aside for notions pouches as well as needle stashers, but a lot of these are going to end up being used for, what do you call it? The like handles for big bags and stuff like that. So the stuff like this that I actually am seeing here, I am going to be using for, I'm going to set aside for big bag handles just in case that's actually what needs to happen. I don't know why I'm showing it to the computer when the actual like camera on my phone it does a way better job. So, you know, just, it's so wild doing two cameras. So I'm going to just say that like I am just obviously don't have any practice. So anyway, so some of these are actually going to end up being scrunchies as well. I don't have my proper cutting tools here, unfortunately, but like usually I have my 6x24 long ruler, but that's just not going to happen today. Normally I am at my cutting table in my cutting room, but I did not feel like being in there today. I'm just not in the mood. All right, so that is something. That's not going to be anything right now. This is an offcut for something else that we're not going to use. This might be used for a cake cozy, or it might be used for a wristlet. Let's actually measure it. I am going to use this for wristlets because it's the right width. I can actually get 2 out of it, which is perfect. And then that's a nice length right there so that you can use it for stuff. Looking at this on the camera, I am going to have to get a light to go above and a proper like overhead sort of thing to, so that you're overhead completely. But for now, this will work. All right, what are bunnies going to be? Bunnies are going to be notions pouches and needle stashers. Okay, so what did I decide? That's going to be wristlets, notions pouches, needle stashers. Yeah, I gotta start these piles now, guys, or else I'm going to like lose track of everything. It's just that I'm out of sorts right now. All right. So we had Omatsuri on August 12th. I don't know, did I stream in between now and then? I can't actually remember. But, how wide are you? Oh, okay. We're going to set these aside just in case as well, because I've got those bags for Paula that I need to make that need to have handles, and those would be useful for handles. This may sound like a lot of failure on like not being able to use it for stuff, but the thing about this is that they'll all get used eventually, or I'll sell the scraps on. These aren't really scraps. They're like half scraps. There's stuff I can use for other things. That is going to be an eyeglass case or a pencil pouch. I think this needs to become a pencil pouch. One of the things I saw people looking for at Omatsuri, because I'm always watching what people are looking for, was foam pouches. And this would make a super cute, I said I was going to make little box bags out of them, but honestly, it would make a ridiculously cute wedge pouch. And so I think that might be what it becomes. Because it would be shaped like this, but that would be ridiculously adorable. So anyway, but that's the size that I was using for eyeglass cases. That's why it's like that. The capybara, that's going to be straight into wristlets because, actually I might need to cut it off, so which means that it might be better as a cake cozy. Dun dun dun. Let's see here. Yeah, that's like the perfect width for a cake cozy. And then actually it might be almost the perfect length too, I think. Alright, so the one thing is I can't see any of my stats to see who is actually watching or not. So let me see if I can get a viewer count on here as well. Sorry, I'm still playing around with stuff, obviously. Nope. I bet you if I go in and I do a scene, can I do something in here? I wanted to do this today because I was like, well, if I'm like, haha, there we go, I can actually see a viewer count. Show off your viewers from multiple platforms. Sure. YouTube viewers, enabled streams. You can do Twitch, YouTube, and stuff. Okay, close. So now did that actually add a viewer count in here? Let's see. Oh, that's me. It's got to stay. Oh yeah, there's a viewer count right there. I see it. It is tiny. Oops, sorry. Moving everything around here and trying to figure it out. Okay, well it is showing up on my side, so we'll see if it... Custom code, browser settings. Yeah, that's enough. Can we transition it to live? There we go. Sweet. So the viewer count will pop up right on the on my little screen thing here, which is nice because it means that I didn't shuffle things around and then it went wonky when I went live, although that means that I do need to bump myself back up here. Sorry guys, like I said, I'm playing around today because I need to figure it out before I actually start really using this to stream. My Friday streams are not super busy typically, so this is a good way to do it. There we go. Now I just shuffled my webcam view around so that I'm kind of in there but not super in there. I might actually make my actual webcam picture a bit smaller because realistically I am here. There we go. Let's make this a little bit bigger so I can see it better. There we go. There, and then I'm going to put the viewer count up on the left hand side because but you can't read it. Okay, so we'll put it against me. There we go. That's going to do that little blip again, and then now that'll show up on the live feed. That's better, I think. Yeah, you're able to see the whole desk that I have in view, right? And the viewer count and everything like that. Sweet, there we go. Okay. Learning experiences. Anyway, this is going to become a cake cozy. Yes, this will become a cake cozy. So because of that, so I'm just going to cut it down right now while I'm thinking about it. It's already on the cutting mat, may as well. And then right here. Anyway, so I did Omatsuri on August 12th in that place that's close to me, Calgary. Ooh, I've got a Coke behind me here. Sorry, I'm looking for I brought my rotary cutter out, and now I think I've thrown all of my other stuff on here. I realized the other way that this would be fun to actually do would be to put the camera in the point of view slot. So that it's hanging out on my chest so you could see what was going on while I was working on it. But playing around with it in the actual holder is better right now just so I can figure my stuff out. All right, where the heck did my rotary cutter go? Ah, of course. All right, well, we'll just mark it with some chalk and I will cut it because it just needs to be cut. It doesn't matter how it's cut, at least for this fabric. So this is going to be a cake cozy. Cake cozies are for knitters and crocheters. What it does is it wraps around the yarn and keeps the, like, when you cake it up, it keeps the cake tidy. That's why it's called a cake cozy. And I just realized there is a little bit more warble on the one end than the other, so we'll cut the amount off from here. Instead of at the other end. Okay, there we go. Because that is that. Perfect. And usually I do have a template to actually, like, cut these, but I didn't feel like giving away my secret sauce today, so that's why it's not here. This capybara, so these scraps will be sorted and put up for sale, because, like, I don't actually have a use for that small scrap. Although, realistically, I probably could make, like, some sort of cat pouch out of it or something like that. That might be a good thing to do. Sorry, I am, like, generally over this cold, but apparently not completely. Alright, so we need to start up. Where did I decide the grime guards were going? I can't even remember. I think those were going to be needle, like, notions pouches and stuff. We're going to put the grime guards on the computer. Or cake cozies on the computer. I feel like that's a good spot for them. Those are potential handles still. This bunny looks like it will probably be a good, both these bunnies look like they're probably good cake cozies. They're a nice big print, so they're not going to work very well for, like, that stuff like wristlets and stuff like that, because, like, with wristlets you fold it in so much that you would end up not having anything of the rabbits actually visible. So, all right, here we go. Let's make sure that they're tall enough. The pink is not actually tall enough, so it's going to go into, actually neither of these are tall enough. Yeah, they're just a little bit off, so they're going to go into needle stashers and notions pouches, which is going to be this pile. Okay, so one pile is cake cozies and one pile is needle stashers. Yell at me if I mix them up. This feels like it's probably, yeah, there's a triangle pouch. Sweet. Yeah, it's a little bit too big to be a triangle pouch, but we'll cut that later. The triangle pouch stuff is underneath me here, so I'm going to pop it in the bin underneath me, just because that's easier. And then this looks like it was intended to be, oh, it's the offcuts on the other side from the eyeglass cases, so we put that with the ducks for now, like there. And then that's the same with this, so that's offcuts to the duck, or to that pile. I got to go through and do this because I am over inundated with scraps. I know I'm supposed to be doing other stuff in Knit City, and a whole bunch of other things to do right now, but that's okay. I needed a day to, like, just sort through some of this stuff and get some of the stuff off my head. I do have a pile of, if I don't end up having enough scraps to do stuff with, I do have a pile of actual fabric here to cut for the for that thing, grime guards. That's what it is. But this should also be the knot bag scraps. Now this is not big enough for anything really. We're gonna set that aside for scraps, the same as that capybara cut, because I'm thinking what these should become is, there's a cute little project I was thinking for this size, like small scraps. Okay, let's just throw it there, that's fine. Okay, what size are you? You look like you are the same size as the other one that we set aside for handle. Potential handles. You guys. Now, these guys, I've got to show the phone, not the computer. I'm so used to showing the computer now at this point that it's like, whatever. Anyway, so this is a good fabric, not for, like, stuff like cake cozies and stuff like that. It's a little bit too thick. It doesn't hold its shape nicely. It just, I don't know. I don't like making stuff like that out of it. I don't like making scrunchies out of it because it's a little bit rougher than the cotton. But what it is good for is wristlets. So I'll make sure, and triangle pouches if we've got enough, but I don't think this is quite enough for a triangle pouch. Let me just see. No, it's not quite wide enough, but it will make a good wristlet. I know that, like I just said, the print is a little bit large, but in this case, that is where it's going to go because it's not good for the cake cozies. Just a little bit too heavy of a fabric. This, however, the black Sassy Cats patchwork will be amazing for cake cozies because it's a lighter quilt cotton. And it is actually the perfect, I'm not going to cut it down, because at least width-wise, because the serger takes off a little bit. Honestly, a little bit larger cake cozy is fine. It does need to have a little bit of length cut off, but that's perfect. Okay, that's what we want. So that to that, because it's that width, yeah. Okay, and since this is chalk, we'll just cut these individually. It's a little bit more time consuming, but since I'm not using the rotary cutter anyway, it's all good. And then I'll set this aside for what I'm thinking might be super cute out of this. Basically, it's a little cat pouch, but it'll be quilted with all these little scraps now that I'm cutting off right now. All right, so the cake cozy is here. What I decide these were going to be. Did I decide that these were going to end up being wristlets? I can't remember now. See, this is why you got to yell at me about what everything is. It's set aside. These are going to be wristlets for sure. Okay, wristlets, cake cozies, something. I don't even remember. We'll put it there for now. Okay, so these cuts are actually all off of the big bags, so that's why it's like they could be cake cozies or they could be wristlets, to be honest. I used to make handles for the big bags, like a wristlet handle almost, that I sewed into the bag out of these cuts, but I much prefer the webbing for the tote bag because it's just too big to carry on your wrist, really. It's better as a shoulder bag. All right, so how wide is this? I just realized I should have had an extra snack before I came on stream because now I'm getting really hungry, and that's really annoying that it like kicked in now, of course. Oh, all right, so that needs to be cut down a little bit, both width and length here. So I'll do the length first, and then we'll do the width, because the width is going to be a little bit wibbly wobblier. I probably should just grab the rotary cutter, the small rotary cutter for that. I swear I brought the rotary cutter out. It probably got swallowed up by everything underneath everything. Clip, 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 and then we'll set these aside for patchwork right here. And then we'll line up that straight line, or mostly straight line. Obviously not perfectly straight, that's fine. There we go, and then we'll square up this direction. So the kids are in their childcare today, and I get to come downstairs and work, which is always a good day. It has cooled down significantly in Alberta, thank goodness. We've been like mid-30s all week, but we just got some rain, although I do hope it heads to West Kelowna and the Northwest Territories for us. Obviously Maui as well, but yeah, it's insane how much of our area is on fire. Even with the rain coming down, it smelled like someone just had extinguished a actual campfire beside us. Which is not a scent you want hanging out around anywhere for any reason. All right, so there's some more handles here that we'll use for big bags potentially. That is also a handle cut. I do have more of this fabric as well, so if I don't need to actually cut handles for it, that is the best case scenario. Same here, that looks like it was intended for the large box bag or small box bag handles. This looks like it's intended for wristlets. Not quite large enough. Okay, so I'm going to put that in the scraps here then. We already have a cake cozy from this, so I think what I'm going to do with this one is actually make a wristlet. Am I? Should I make another cake cozy? I feel like it's going to be a popular cake cozy. Let's see. Where are you at? Yeah, you can make a cake cozy. Are you the right length? You're the right length. I just realized the first couple that I cut down too, like, not enough. Oh, that's what happens when you come back to a product after it's been a while since you made it. I think all of these are a little bit too much. They're like too long. So, yep. Yes, they are. Curses. Okay, well, we got some more cool scraps here, basically. I think the capybara might be... Katie! Oh, I told you. It's one of those days, apparently. All right, let's get this settled up. Now, this does seem like very small products to be making for Knit City, but I really like making the grime guards and the cake cozies. Though I guess these are all grime or cake cozies right now. And my brain, I have a lot of cutting to do for the Kato bag still, and a lot of cutting to do for the restock on the large box bags and the small box bags. And I'm not in the headspace for that sort of work today. I'm barely in the headspace for this work today, so. There's another one of those cuts that we'll use for the updated notions pouch. These are scraps that will probably get used for needle stashes and notions pouches. These are offcuts from the bags, and I need to keep them around until I figure out if I need to cut more handles from them or not. Basically, what I'll need to do is I'll need to go in and check the handle box that's in the cutting room. That's part of the reason why I typically work in the cutting room, is because now I have those boxes that I'm supposed to be using to organize myself, which only works if you're actually in the cutting room, and I am not right now, obviously. But, you know, so I'll keep these around. Otherwise, they look like they'll probably, actually, these are big enough that we are going to make grime guards for cross stitch out of them. So I'm going to divert them to that pile for now. Yeah, they're long enough as well. And then we'll double check that I don't need handles from them for box bags yet, that I can actually use them for grime guards. All right, so these cuts here all look like they're going to be potential handle cuts as well. So same idea. These guys are wide enough, or just wide enough, that they will probably become needle stashers and smaller notions pouches. And then same with these guys. They're wide enough. Pretty sure I don't have any other bags. Well, I do have more bags to make out of these. So we'll set these guys as fabric aside for potential handles, which is this pile right here. Then these guys are going to become needle stashers and notions pouches. Just realizing that 2 for the viewer count is like right on my face. So give me one moment. I'm going to just move it here a little bit because I'm still playing around with everything. I think, yes, that's a better spot for it. It's going to blip here because apparently it wants to blip every time I like transition something new to live, but you know, live and learn. Oh, did it work? Nope. Transition, please. Okay, it should be up in a moment. There we go. It may blip twice. I'm sorry if it does. Like I said, I'm learning today how to actually use this Streamlabs software. And if you hear a bunch of traffic outside my window, it's because people are on the move for the weekend. All right, so this is fully a cut for a handle for the bag. Again, so we will do that. And then this, I'm just going to transition into, I'm going to go with Grime Guard right off the bat here. Or not Grime Guard, but Cake Cozy. I'm going to make sure that it actually lines up width-wise everywhere I need it to. I am liking the fact that I can do the dual cameras. Basically, I needed to find a software before I invested in a bunch of other things. So now that I've got the idea of what this all wants to be, I actually do want to do a full like overhead flat lay stream. It just wasn't in the cards for today because I was mucking around with it. I literally downloaded the software this morning. to figure out how to use it. So I'm glad that it's working at all, to be honest. And we'll be better set up for this weekend now. I will be streaming. I'm going to actually schedule a stream for tomorrow. Tomorrow I will be cutting canvas and pockets and interiors for the Kato bags that I'll be bringing to Knit City in Vancouver. And then we'll be going from there. That is the current plan. Right now we're going to work through as many of the grime guards and kit cozies as we can. Basically, I'm processing a massive scrap pile here, which you can kind of see on camera, not really. It's like the knot bag offcuts and everything, because that's what the kit cozies really are. They're a scrap diversion program, as well as the needle stashes and notions pouches. They were the OG scrap diversion plan. Kit cozies and triangle pouches are actually the secondary scrap transition critters. Alright, so there's the square up for that one. Do you know what? We're just going to leave it like that because I will cut it off when I actually go to serge the actual kit cozy. Okay, those look like they are already cut for... Yeah, those are kit cozy cuts. Now, I wouldn't... Oh no, that's light enough. And so are the bumblebees. That's like a lighter cotton linen blend for that. We have sassy cats here. Now these guys will make amazing kit cozies. The floral is a little bit larger than I would normally use on this sort of thing, but that cat is going to be amazing for actually being able to view on a kit cozy. Those squinty eyes. So if you're ever looking for the black cat fabrics on my actual website, they're all under sassy cat fabrics because I've got the tiniest, sassiest cat ever. She's like 9 pounds, soaking wet, if you could get her in a tub or get her wet, which is not easy, wouldn't be easy. And she's got the biggest attitude in the smallest body, and so that's why all the black cat fabrics at this time are named sassy cat fabrics because of Dahlia. All right, we're gonna actually overlay some of these other cuts over this, and we'll just square up from them because I've already cut them. I'm gonna make sure that all of the feature of the fabric that I want are on the same side. So like I want this cat right here to be on all of these kit cozies, and then I'll trim them up from this end. And then any like straightening cuts will also be done on the bottom towards me, basically. All right, there we go. And then we'll just overlay these guys since we just confirmed that they are the correct cuts. And look at that. We're not even going to trim this down up here. It will make it a little bit different size kit cozy, but honestly, that's fine. All right, and then we're going to set these scraps aside because there's a cat pouch I want to make, and making scrappy cat pouches would be adorable. Okay, so I'm actually going to set those aside as the like premier proper kit cozy cuts. This is a fabric that I haven't completed the box bags in yet. This is also the same. So basically what we're going to do is I'm going to finish up all of these, and then I'm going to go double check in the cutting room what I still need to make with these cuts. Because it looks like these have been cut to make the box bags. I haven't confirmed if like all the box bags have their handles yet or not. That's what's happening right now. I know that's a lot of fabric. This is where I get bogged down and where I need to figure out a couple more efficiencies for myself, which is partly why I am doing the boxes in the cutting room, is because that does make my life far easier. So in this case, there is 3 handles right there, and I realistically do have the bag made from it, I think, but I don't know. So we're going to lay it aside as well. It's better to do it this way because all of these are very limited fabrics, actual scrap. Looks like there's a couple actual scraps there. But anyway, they're limited fabrics, and I just want to make sure that like I've got everything out of them that I need without, or like at the same time as actually like making as much product out of it as I can. Anyway, efficiencies. I should have just brought the handle blocks out, and then I could have figured it out. Okay, there's some super cute bunnies coming. So basically what the prep that I'm doing right now is I'm working to prep for Knit City in Vancouver in September. Sorry, I'm just going to scroll. There we go. I figured, I just remembered I should actually be looking at my chat. you have any questions, please feel free to throw them in. There we go. But I just realized I can only see I can see my actual video stream on my preview, which is fine. But I couldn't actually see my chat, so we'll keep the chat up a little bit better. Okay, so I know these, I haven't made these bags for poly yet, so I want to make sure that I've got enough fabric for the actual handles. This is useless for handles, so it's going to go in scraps. It's a fairly large scrap for me, but that's okay. It can be used in other applications. Then we've got these guys. So it's also a decision of so some of these I know for sure the second small box bag cuts have been made into the eyeglass cases. That looks like it's going to probably be that other stuff, a wristlet or a cake cozy. This is going to be a scrap for the cat pouches. But anyway, so I'll have one large box bag, I'll have a small box bag, and then this can become needle stashes and notions pouches, and that's perfectly fine. But I need to be able to make sure that that's what's going to actually happen. All right, because these cuts are the cuts that I made for the eyeglass cases, so they've already been used, and I've sorted out that I very likely won't be making more of a second eyeglass case. We'll be using these towards, I want to make, I think, little wedge bag pouches, because what I was seeing when I was at Olmat City is that people were looking for things to put their phone in. So I was originally going to make this a little box bag, but I'm thinking it's either going to be a little wedge, or it might just be a straight, actually now that I'm looking at it, it might just be a straight easy. So, and maybe an itty bitty little wedge down at the bottom, because boxing them just gives them so much more room. It's ridiculous. It's a flat bag should have just as much room, but it does not. It has less. All right, in this case, so these are all offcuts from big bags, which is why I'm laying them here. If you're just joining, I was talking about how this is a fairly thick cotton linen blend. It's not a very nice cotton linen blend to make cake cozies and grime guards from because of the serger. So I'm going to, and they just, the elastic doesn't pull it in nicely. It bothers me. So we're not going to use it. But what we'll make from these are wristlets. So the wristlet pile is actually behind me here on my sewing desk. And then this is, oh, what are you going to be? I don't know what you're going to be. You're quite a large cut, so we'll set you here with handles for now. And then you are going to be, you're supposed to be triangle pouches and all the other diversions. I just screwed up your knot bag cuts. I do remember that because I was out of practice on my knot bags. Okay, so I've actually got a full pile of, these might be handles just under the camera right here. They might need to become handles when they grow up. So let's do some more cake cozies here. I do have a full pile of new fabric right here, just off camera. It's kind of just behind this stuff here, to make grime guards from as well. That's something else we're going to make. If you're wondering what the heck a grime guard is a wrap that you can put around your what do you call them, hoops and Q-snaps. Q-snaps, the snap frames that you get for cross stitch and embroidery and stuff like that. That's what I want to get to as well. I did make them previously, but I have improved my processes because before the time that was required to finish them ended up making the product too restrictive to actually make in production quantities like I needed to, or wanted to, I guess. I guess I don't really need to do any of these at production quantities, but I want to have as many options as available as I can, being one person doing this. Anyway, ramble. I got a serger and I've sorted out the process that I can do to make the cake cozies efficient as well, and to a quality that I want for my name, basically. And so now I can actually start back into the grime guard production, which is super exciting. I'm actually super excited to bring them back. I'll have, so what I'm working towards is stock for Knit City currently. Oh, that top pink cats might be too small. At least it's too small on that end. It's okay on this end, it looks like. close enough on this end. That's fine. Okay, so we're going to just square up on this end, and then we're going to square up on this end. Come on. And then we'll trim down along the pink edge on that side. Okay. So anyway, yeah, the grime guards are something that I'm able to put into production so that we actually have some options available again. The other thing is that the serger allows me to actually make the larger grime guards, which is where I had my tripping point last time. Because how I was assembling grime guards in the past was using French seams, because that's how you finish seams without a serger, basically. And like it makes a nice seam. It encloses the seam together so that you end up actually having a no raw edges. And that is like my MO for all of these products, is no raw edges on the inside. So if you've noticed, everything is typically that is super small scraps. I don't really have a use for those scraps, so we'll throw them down on the floor. The scrap graveyard for use for later. Basically, those are the scraps that end up going out to like weave and wrap around baskets, like rope and stuff like that. Anyway, so the grime guards, the other thing that I wanted to do was to be able to make the larger grime guards, which means that you need to be able to serge the ends, because doing a French seam twice in the grime guard just kind of threw it off and whatever. But anyway, so the French seams were nice, and they're a really good way to do like drawstring bags and a bunch of other things, but the serger seams make it a lot quicker. Because one thing I've learned is people don't want to pay for time put into French seams typically for like drawstring bags and things. And I also stumbled on a really well priced like industrial serger essentially. So it's a family lock. It's an FR755, and it's a little metal beast. She is so good. And just ticks along. I had to do a little bit of repair to her earlier this summer. That's partly why I haven't had a lot of new Cozy okay, so typically oh wait, how wide are you? Can we get 2 out of you? Or if I cut you a certain way, can we get oh man, I was like, if I cut this a certain way, I might be able to get a wristlet, but that's not wide enough for a wristlet. It would be if I do it a certain way though. So yeah, okay, if we cut it very close to this edge, we can get a wristlet out of it. I was just thinking, I'm like, my hardware is 1 inch, and this is like 3 inches tall up top. But I also have 1/2 inch hardware. Maybe I should get, I wonder if there's, so I was starting out with like wristlet with like the lobster claw hardware, but then I saw key fob hardware, which I like a lot better, because basically it caps the end and finishes it in one fell swoop, which is perfect. It's a 1-step process instead of like a 3-step process to finish it. Anyway, I wonder if there's, I know there's 3/4 inch hardware. I wonder if there's 1/2 inch hardware. I'll have to take a look later. So I'm going to cut all of these for cake cozies. Rest assured, none of these are long enough for grime guards. Although in this case, I maybe should have done scrunchies out of it as well. Oops. In my head, scrunchies are longer, but actually this would have worked for scrunchies too, for a little bit smaller kind of scrunchie. I am not getting into the scrunchie making business, but I am making scrunchies because, again, it's a nice, easy scrap use up, basically. Okay, these are getting put aside for the cat pouches. Cat pouches will be a while in the making. They are not something I'm going to promise for Knit City, because I've already got too much on my plate for Knit City. I've actually already cut stuff out for Knit City because I have too much on my plate before Knit City. All right, so in that case, thinking of that, we're going to keep this one here for a scrunchie. So I'm going to set it aside. I don't know why I keep showing the computer. That is not going to work. It's way better to show it all actually on the camera. I need to install that light. I've got one more. So I've got like super bright lights behind me in my sewing space, and over my cutting table now. I've got one more super bright light, and I think I probably should install it above this table. Oh, that's not going to make very good. There's no cat on there. It's just floral. So let's see here. What are we going to do? I think those just become wristlets because they're kind of boring. There's a little bit of a cat there, but I could fold it in such a way that you're going to get cat. I'm not going to cut that down right now because I need to figure out what I'm actually doing with them. There is a good example, though, for a cake cozy. Okay, so there's one with the cake cozy. And then what about this one? Is this a good one for cake? Oh, that is just a strip. How wide are you? Again, maybe. Actually, this would be perfect for 1/2-inch hardware. So that has to go on my to-do list of like find 1/2-inch hardware, apparently. Okay, and then we've got the sassy cat chasing ribbons and bows here. Might actually have to dip out for one moment and grab some, I've got the windows open downstairs because it finally cooled down and I want some fresh air, but it is getting chilly. All right, so in this case, what cat do I want on the cake cozy? I think probably this cat on the end here. Do I have enough fabric on the end here? Because this one is crooked. I do not. Okay, so that's going to be a wristlet or scrunchie. Wristlet or scrunchie? Where did I throw the scrunchies? I can make a scrunchie, or I can make like a super cute little notions pouch out of it. Let's do notions pouch out of that, actually. Okay, what about this one? This one looks too thin. This one looks like it's going to end up being the same sort of thing. I think this needs to be a notions pouch. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, that's what that other one could be as well. Okay, so these are all going to be notions pouches, because that will showcase that fabric the best. And then that's a wristlet amount. That's whatever. And then this one could be, no, there's not enough cat on there to make it worthwhile making a notions pouch out of. Okay, wristlets, cake cozy. Yeah, I need to go close that window. I will be right back. Let's see. I'm going to turn this to be right back. Transition to live. Then I'm going to mute my mic, hopefully. Okay. BRB. Okay, so that is super cool. I really like that because I was always like running off screen and not being on screen, and it's like, well, what are people going to think? Excuse me. Okay, so let's see. Did I transition? Sweet, I did transition on YouTube as well. Perfect. Okay, so let's go through the rest of this. Yeah, it got way too chilly down here. And just very suddenly as well, so. Now, granted, I am in shorts, and that's not going to help anything, but, yeah. Alright, this looks like good wristlet material. Discuss that. Well, this is a fairly light fabric, so it's like, it would work probably for everything. Yes, that is going to be the perfect wristlet, at least on the back. So into the wristlet fabric it goes. And then we're working on getting all of this sorted. So that looks like it would make, actually, I just want to make this into a scrunchie. Although it would make a spectacular cake cozy as well. So our main objective right now is cake cozies. And then the second objective is actually making grime guards. Grime guards look like grime guards are only going to be really cut out of new fabric because they're such specific lengths that it's hard to actually not cut them. All right, that looks like a nice even up of that. So let's do these two right here so that we've got them ready. That wisteria cat may not be wide enough for a cake cozy. No, it's too small for a cake cozy. So this is going to become another notions pouch at some point. All right, so now we've got the Maneki and then we've got the new prototype for the wedge bag. I'm trying to decide if I want to bring wedge bags back or not. It's super cute. I added pockets on the interior because I think that's the one thing that the wedge bag could use. And then just some upgrades to like the zipper construction and the zipper tab as well. Still the same wedge, same size as my previous wedge bags as well. Price would be a little bit different because of the construction. But I'm still trying to decide. I don't know if I want to be making wedge bags again or not. If you have an opinion or want to weigh in on anything, please let me know. I would really appreciate it. So I'll close that back up. I really like this fabric though. It's like musical lesson sort of stuff, and it's super cute. All right, so I'm gonna pop that over here now. What else do we have here? It looks like we're heading into stuff that will make things. Oh dear. Okay. Sorry, I am like apparently powering out of energy. This is a light enough cotton linen blend. I think we can make a cake cozy out of it as long as it's wide enough. Okay. So let's have a look here. Go. No, that's not wide enough. So I think instead we'll put that aside. It looks like it's probably wide enough for. It's wide enough for notions, pouches, and needle stashers. So there we go. I'm gonna cut down this cat fabric because I feel like doing it now, and then we can have a nice clear space to continue the judgment of what we're doing. Basically with this one, because that's such a strong center line, I'm just gonna line it up both directions. Then we're going to fold the Maneki. Actually, no, we're not. We're just going to line it up here, and then I'll cut the actual length off once we've squared up the sides here, because obviously there's some divergence here, and we don't want that. We want it to be as straight as possible. Sometimes I will run it through the serger like this, but this wider divergence is going to really show up in the cake cozy when I sew it together for the elastic. So, a little bit of squaring up in the serger is fine. This much squaring up, not so much. It's not so fun. Okay, so there's the square up on the sides. And then we'll do the length here in a second. It's better. What cats do we want to feature? I think a sexy chicken leg cat really needs to be on there. This guy too, because he looks like Flynn. And then this guy, because he reminds me of Remy. Actually, sexy chicken leg cat reminds me of Remy, to be honest. So I really like this cat though too, because it looks like the Maneki the Nekozuki cat. So calicos. All right, that's the scrap that's going to scrap graveyard. More grime guards. Okay, let's get into the tigers here. I think this looks like it could be a large box bag handle. Now I do know with this one that I am only making large box bags out of it if I'm making anything. Maybe the Kato as well. Yeah, we'll set it aside for now. These would actually also make good drawstring channels for the Kato. So that's good to remember when I'm doing scrap cutting. Although actually they wouldn't, because you would need two of them because they're not deep enough in one to actually do the two drawstring channels that you need for that pattern. Perfect height, and then we just need to cut down the length. I have two. We're going to make one into a cake cozy, and then I think the other one I'm going to make a scrunchie out of, so I'm just going to leave it like that. That's the wristlet pile. Where the heck am I putting the scrunchies? I did have a scrunchie pile. I remember having a scrunchie pile specifically. Oh well. It'll all come out in the end. Alright. I tricked myself earlier about how long these need to be, but that is the correct length there. Do I normally use a rotary cutter? Yes, I do. Did I think I brought my rotary cutter out of my cutting room? Yes. I don't know why. It's not on my cutting table. I think I probably covered it up. I did do some tidying up before I actually sat down, because it's like I couldn't even sit down at this desk to use it for this purpose today. And now I'm just kind of like, ugh, I need to do it again apparently. So Alright, so there's the happy little birds. We're going to set it aside as well because I might need handles out of it. And same thing here with the Mew cats. Pretty sure I've already got the handles out of it, but I need the cut bin to make sure. This one is a nice, it feels medium weight, but we'll use it for the actual, what are we doing? Cake cozies. Okay, and I just realized to square it up, I could actually leave it folded in half like this. Although if I cut it off from one side, it's gonna be better. This is almost good for wristlets though too. No, we'll do cake cozy from it. Cake cozies sell better. Obviously, as I'm chatting away, you're more than welcome to chime in about what you think something should be. If you want to see what I'm talking about, everything is listed on my website at ateliernekozuki.com. The cake cozies, what I'm talking about is if you're a knitter or crocheter, they are to go around your yarn cake so that it helps hold the cake in shape while it's in your project bag, or if you just want to throw it in another bag without like having to unravel everywhere. So, all right, we need to cut down to here, and then that means bicolor cat's in there, and we've got a suitcase cat. Yeah, we're good. Okay. And then, then we're going to cut it off from this side because then I get the suitcase cat that I want on there. A couple of them. We're pretty close to a couple of them. I don't know why I didn't lay out the ones that I've already cut, but apparently I want to make this one difficult for myself. And that's okay. So far so good. I think that the stream software seems to be working really well. As I said earlier, I literally downloaded it today. I've been wanting to do like this dual cam for a while, but finding a software that will do it efficiently and cheaply or free is a little bit more of a task than it should be. So now, does that mean that I will always keep it at free? No, I might pay for services, but I want to test stuff out without having to commit to anything. So, and I will be committing to, I'll make sure that I get a bit more set up. So right now the phone is actually on like a gooseneck mount, which seems to be working fairly well. You get a fairly decent view of the desk, but I would like to do like a full top down version, and I will be installing the light above this desk probably later today actually. All right, now in this case that is a good, I should have just cut this straight across, but those are good scraps for that cat pouch that I was talking about. Okay, so what are you? You are cake cozy. That's another cake cozy. We're getting through quite a few of these scraps, which is nice. This was intended for triangle pouches, it looks like. Looks like I just folded it up and put it aside because those are triangle pouches. So we're going to throw them underneath because I've got a triangle pouch bin under my desk, which works. Oh, these are all what if handles. It looks like I've got 2 sets of those. So we'll keep this set and I'm going to pull the other set and we'll make things out of them. So they're down here underneath. These are the what ifs. What if stuff. There we go. And then those will go back in so that if I need to have handles, I've got handles. But again, like I said, I need to double check and make sure that I'm not like missing something. Anyway, if these are wide enough, they're just going to become grime guards because they're large enough. Yep, those are grime guards. Sweet, those are large enough cuts that they'll make amazing grime guards. Okay, I don't know what scrap sizes these are. What are you? What were you intended to be? Who knows? They got set aside. This is where I got to do these. I should be sorting these scraps as I cut these fabrics because it's like I come back and I'm like, what are you intended for? I don't remember. And I guess I do need to start keeping an eye on the time just to make sure that we have to go pick up kiddos at a certain time, obviously. All right, so these are a nice size for triangle pouches. I don't foresee myself doing them. Well, they're not big enough for other things. So I think we'll just set them aside for triangle pouches. Looks like they got half cut, and then it was like, yeah, whatever. Okay, triangle pouches. Under the table they go. I got a nice pile of cake cozies here, though. I'm quite happy with that. And then this looks like it'll be a nice cake cozy as well. Maybe. Yep, we're good. Okay, so I'll set that one aside for now. Or I'll keep it here, not set it aside. Okay, so there's another capybara. Okay, now we're back into the potential handle fabric. So we'll set this aside. This retro vending machine fabric is really cool because my husband was just actually watching a video on YouTube for retro vending machines. There's apparently a place in Japan that has like a bunch of these lined up. And it's the Trash Taste guys that actually talk about it. I don't remember what the video episode was or even what where it's located, but a lot of them are represented on this fabric, so it's so cool to have seen them. And what I'll do is once I get off stream, I will put that video link actually in the comments because it's really neat. Okay, pretty sure that the ducks, I only have one small box bag and maybe a large box bag coming. But again, we'll double check the cut bins before I commit that to something else and change the cuts. All right, this citrus fabric, this is the stuff from the big bags. This will make some good cake cozies. Now, I may or may not be back on to actually sew these cake cozies. Oh, wait. Cake cozies, or are we going to do... Those might be large enough to actually make triangle pouches out of. All right, what do you think? This can either be a triangle pouch or it could be a cake cozy. Chime in below because I'm not 100% sure what I would want to make out of it. But I could do both. Or either, I guess. I think I have more offcuts for this anyway that I could actually make triangle pouches in. So if I have those, then I'll make these into cake cozies. So that we can have the best of both worlds. But we'll see. Okay, so that's a maybe either both pile. Okay, now we're into the true not bag offcuts. So when I was first cutting, messing with the knot bags this year, I actually did screw up how I cut them off. But this is the true knot bag correct cut so that I can actually make as much as I can from the scraps. So basically I cut it on the fold instead of cutting it in a different fashion. And it does have to be with this curve because otherwise it gets it really tight for what we actually can make with the triangle pouches and stuff. All right, so this is where I do actually end up needing my templates because otherwise I'm not able to, well, it's just more difficult, I guess, to make sure that everything is the right size. Okay, so where did the templates go? I think I see the one there, unless it's the Kato canvas template. I just realized I think I need to actually cut some more templates for everything because I think I misplaced a couple, which is ridiculous. I don't know how I misplaced templates within my cutting room, but apparently it happened. Okay, give me one moment. I'm gonna go see if I can grab the template for the triangle pouches, at least, if not the cake cozies as well. All right, so here we go. We've got the actual template for the triangle pouch with the secret sauce hidden, and it looks like we're good to go from right here. Okay, so we're gonna lay out a few more, as long as, so the pancakes are a little bit smaller, so if we need to, we'll flip it over. I use the templates like this because I have in the past, especially when I was a novice sewer, basically like miscut stuff of like where the zipper is and stuff like that. So on the very first templates that I actually made, I'm like, zipper is here. And it helped and it reduces my fabric waste because it's like I'm not screwing up the cuts. So that's why I still to this day use quite a few templates, because it just makes my life easier. It means that I don't waste these adorable fabrics. All right, so this is for the triangle pouch. We're just gonna go, obviously a cat or a kid has gotten to these. I'm not 100% sure. Probably both. But realistically, it's a rough template, then that's fine. Okay, so we're gonna... I absolutely love the sound of the chalk pen. I don't know if you can hear that or not. Chime in below if you can, but it is so satisfying. Okay. So this is a lot of my products that I've introduced recently because I was not able to get to Japan for 4.5 years. A lot of my products I was drowning in scraps. So it was partly like limited that I was not able to bring in more fabric as easily, because what I do is I go to Japan and I select my fabric, and then I come back and I make my bags in my home studio. But part of it was also that I was literally drowning in scraps, or pretty damn close. And what I wanted to do was to use these scraps up. So I got very innovative. Triangle pouches were the first coup that I had, because triangle pouches were something that I originally wanted to make when I first started making bags, and I could not for the life of me figure out how to proportion them and like how to sew them so that the zipper was correct and everything like that. My attempts of it failed, and I was able to pick up box bag shaping and wedge bag shaping far easier. So that's what I went with instead, fairly enough. But then I started adding knot bags and a bunch of other things. And with the knot bags, they're circular cuts, so they're not, like, obviously you've got this curve here, so it's a little bit more difficult to use up the actual scraps from it. So I figured out how I would be able to fit a triangle pouch in it, and then after triangle pouches, I figured out how to make the cake cozies from it. And then actually the other thing I'm able to make from this is I'm able to make wristlets as well of a certain size. I have started making key fobs instead of wristlets because the key fob hardware is a nice sealant basically for the end. It makes my life easier for finishing, but I'm going to have to see if there's like 1/2-inch key fob hardware. I can't imagine that there isn't, because like that is the perfect key fob right there, or wristlet width right there. It makes about a 1/2-inch wide wristlet. But yeah, I'll have to do some hardware searching here soon. If you have a bead on any of that, I would love to hear about it. And I know I totally said that I was going to do grime guards today, but apparently I should have said that this was scrap sorting today, because that's what we're doing right now. Again, I was drowning in scraps in my cutting room, and I needed to clear off the cart that these were sitting on, so thinking I need to convert my yarn closet maybe into like a little bit more storage for leather and things. And a few other things to store, maybe even those carts, because that would give me more room to stand around my cutting table a little bit better. These are all daydreams in the future stuff. It's definitely not anything that's going to happen until at least after Knit City, if it even happens then. So just do not have the time right now. All right. And I know it would actually make my processes more efficient, but it's just sometimes too much to think about even processing. Okay, so there is the wristlet cut. Obviously they get tidied up. That is a little bit too small a scrap for me to actually use, so that's going to go in the scrap pile to like pass on to other crafters. Into the scrap graveyard with you. Okay, so how big are these cuts? Yeah, they're a little bit too small for the key fob hardware that I have right now width-wise, but that just means that they'll end up, I'll just look for different key fob hardware widths And actually maybe they might fit 3/4 inch key fob. I don't know. We'll take a look. There we go. And so those are squared up decently, and then they will need some interfacing because the interfacing does help it actually hold its shape better, even if I use the lobster claws. But we'll figure those out later. Got a wristlet stacked behind me. Those are scrunchies. Okay. We're gonna put there, like that. Okay. The next set. Again, like I said, this is all scrap processing. These scraps are what become the appliques for the canvas bags as well as the notebooks. So they will get coated with a heat and bond interfacing at some point this summer. And then they will go and get cut with my Cricut machine. That's actually the main thing that I cut with my Cricut. But they will be super cute. All right. And then, so this is another set of that stuff. And then there's another set of like these. Now this scrap right here is useless to me. It also is just a pain to like store. So we're just gonna cut that off right now. I don't necessarily use this upper piece for anything, but it does help me just, I don't know why I keep it there. Whatever. It stays. All right, so there's more. There's some sheep fabric. This doesn't necessarily work very well for applique. It's fairly thick, but I just got to figure out a better way to cut it. The sheep are super cute. It's probably not going to make a very good applique, so this might actually just go into for sale scraps, but that's okay. Same thing with this one. It's a very large format. It would be really fun maybe to just even like fussy cut the sheep out by hand actually. But the sassy cat, black cats, or sassy cat with moons and stars is definitely going to be a very good applique. So we'll do that. I think fussy cutting these would be adorable. So I'm going to put them underneath with the applique fabrics and decide what I'm going to do later. This here, there's the Maneki Neko. This is really fun to go through these scraps anyway because it's kind of walk down memory lane. Even though I literally just worked with these fabrics, sometimes it's like, oh right, I had that. Because some of these fabrics are on their last legs or gone. Again, we might just fussy cut. Actually, that would be fun to like just kind of cut around. This would also make a really cute little applique on like, I don't know, something like to sew around them. I think we're going to cut them out though, and I'll put them on a journal or something like that. That would be fun. All right, so those will go underneath as well. And then we've got the Maiko and Kyoto, which are going to be all the other cuts we just did. These guys here. Ooh, yeah, okay. And then some of these will reappear also for making the grime guards that I promised I was cutting today, as well as like all this other scrap stuff. But like my scrap pile that I had here has gone, it's 2/3 smaller, so this was needed. We've got pink happy breakfast here. We've got the macaron critters on white, which is we've got down here to cut the triangle pouches and cake cozies and wristlets, all the goodies from. And then this fan fabric, which is like a super bubblegum pink. If you're into Barbie, this is like a very good Barbie pink. All right, so that's underneath for appliques. And then these cats will make a good applique. This one might be another fun one to just kind of fussy cut the stuff out and then do the applique from myself. I don't know. Sounds like a lot of work. That's the one problem. The ditzy bees with strawberries that are going to be really good. The cats are back in town on the dusty pink will make a very good applique. I'll make something that's like for sure going to get this guy in the middle of it. And then this one here on the teal. And then maybe we'll try and place it so like it gets a bunch of those guys. That would be really cute. The other really cute thing maybe to like kind of frame something to use, but that'll take a little bit more thought process later on. So the cat's back in town in dark teal. Cats. Vintage poster cats. I've got a couple cuts of the shape here. Now, what are we going to use you for? You are off of the... Okay, I'm going to set these aside because we know what we're using. I know what I'm using them for. Oh, okay, your triangle pouches. Easy. I'm not going to cut them down right now. I'm just going to pop them underneath with the triangle pouch bin because that will mark them as what I've decided they will be. Cats are back in town on pink. More scraps. I'm just going to go finish through the pile here so that I can just focus on like cutting out all the scrap products. Macaron critters on gray. If you've been watching the streams, you've very likely seen these fabrics already. Especially like earlier on in the summer when I was doing the majority of my cutting. Or even in this stream as I've cut other parts of it. The citrus on the pink and the citrus on the navy. Mount Fuji, and then those Kyoto Maiko. Now, I've had a special request for any of these scraps, so I might just pass these on to the crafter that requested them. Same as this one, actually. Although, no, I was going to make a cake cozy from that one. That's right. And then we've got that kind of Christmas cat. This is a smaller cut, so we'll see what we can make from it. The frogs. Cats are back in town on the, like, off-white. And then we've got their scraps that I'll use for the appliques here. The little birdies with the little berries. It's super adorable. Oh, go the other way, Katie. There we go. The little berries there. And then the guinea pigs as well. That will make some super cute appliques. So those, just know this is all like upcoming. This is not right now. And there's the other half of the eyeglass case cut that I made. And so this will get made into, what am I deciding? Notions pouches and stuff like that. Okay, we're almost to the end. There's like one more little pile of scraps here and then we're good. Okay, so sushi, Neko. Oh my goodness, you are itty bitty. So I don't know what's going to become of this. Maybe we'll make it into some eyeglass cases since that has to be directional anyway. That might be a good option. Okay, we'll pop it back over there just because that's a better place for it. There is a good one for wristlets, I think. Again, we'll have to figure out maybe some different sized wristlet hardware. Excuse me. Okay, so this has been cut. I know it, it's bare fabric, but it doesn't look like it's, yeah, the one piece is not wide enough for handles, so it's scraps at this point. I know, it looks like pretty large scraps, but this is what I mean. I need to figure out stuff to do with it. Yeah, so that's Notions pouches. Pretty sure I've cut this down already for handles, so we're good there. There's some more wristlets. There's a weird cut for the penguins with coral orange. It looks more coral in person. My Streamlabs desktop is showing it as very orange, so I'm just waiting to see what it shows up on as on the live stream. Yeah, it's showing up more orange on the live stream as well. So this is very coral versus orange. But it's also a weird size. So I think that's just going to go in here for scraps. And then that is handles or potential handles. So we're just going to throw those over there. And now we're going to finish up our cuts from the rest of the scraps. And then we'll do grime guards. It's 3 o'clock, so we've got a little bit of time here. Apparently I've gotten some text messages. All right, just check in to make sure there's nothing super important. It's how the school actually communicates with me. All right, scroll down. I want to see my chat, please. Hello. Okay. Or, there we go. And then scroll up a little bit so I can see a little bit more of the stream than was there. Play, please. Thank you. Still just sorting stuff out. There we go. All right. So let's do all the scraps here. And then we'll do the blue here because that's on the list. And then I'm going to do triangle pouches out of this one. So I'm just going to, that's the navy and pink Dobby citrus, because I was wobbling about where it was going to go, but it's going to go as triangle pouches. Decided. I can always cut it down later. It's easier to cut it down than to add fabric back on. You can't add fabric back on. All right, so these bunnies are going to make a good wristlet. This is a little bit heavier cotton linen blend. They do not make good scrunchies or grime guards because the elastic, it doesn't work with the elastic very well. So I'm going to throw it back, and we're going to deal with the wristlets later because I need to find different hardware. This is intended to be triangle pouches. These ones I screwed up the cutting for the knot bags. Typically the knot bags are cut with this curve. This was just the straight cut, which was not supposed to happen. So we'll just make what we can out of these cuts. It's a little bit tight probably for the triangle pouch and all of that. So we'll deal with it when we get there. All right. So the actual proper scrap pile is sorted. And now we're going to go in and do the cuts. Okay. And then how long have I actually been on? An hour and a quarter. So at this point, I will probably do another 45 minutes, and then I'm going to head out because I'm getting hungry. But yeah, that'll be, well, okay. What we'll do is we'll finish up the scraps here, and then I will be doing grime guards off screen, which not what I intended, but it'll work. I was like, I'm gonna cut grime guards today, and then I'm like, no, I should actually do my cake cozies and my other stuff so that I get these scraps sorted instead. It's just how it goes some days. So, but hey, it has to be entertaining, right? Okay, that is weird. Let's see if I can actually fit. Yeah, so sometimes my scraps end up too small. So that is too small for a triangle pouch. So we're going to pull the macaron critters. But these other ones still fit, barely. Ooh, sweater cats underneath is tight. But it'll work, I think. Yeah, it'll work. The seam allowance on these are pretty generous. It's like, so if it's like a little bit under, as long as I catch it, we'll be fine. However, these geisha are not, so that's just going to go to cake cozies. Actually, in that case, like a scrunchie out of those would be fun. The guinea pigs should be okay. Yeah. Guinea pigs are fine. I've got like a selvage to selvage fold in the middle here that's getting caught. So that's what I'm just kind of like lining up in the middle here is the selvage fold. When I iron the fabrics after they come out of the dryer. So all my fabrics are washed and dried on hot so that the shrinkage occurs, hopefully, so that you don't have to deal with shrinkage. And yeah, we're good. Just barely again. Okay, that's probably enough so that the layers don't shift too much, but yeah. Anyway, I wash and dry all the fabrics and then they need to be ironed, but I iron them in half, so selvage to selvage, so that I save a little bit of time typically, not always. And that's what this line is the selvage to selvage ironing. All right, so we're gonna tighten it up on the other side because the sweater cats are short, are like too short on this side, I think. Nope, they're too short on this side. Okay, right there. Right there. Right there. And then we're just gonna scoot there. Okay, there we go. Okay, now in this case, I'm just gonna cut with the scissors instead of drawing and shifting my pouch around. Do I have pattern weights? Yes, in my cutting room. Do I use pattern weights regularly? No. I should, but do I? Not usually. Now looking at this would actually make some really good eyeglass cases as well. But, I don't know. Using the back cut of the small box bag is also super useful. Obviously creates another product amount that I can use for other things, which is kind of cool. Am I going to be drowning in scraps from the eyeglass cases? Kind of, yes. But that's okay. I'll figure out what to do with them. I think the idea for like a super cute little wedge bag is going to be the perfect one. So that's going to be the plan, and I'll probably stick to it. I just haven't had the time to like actually develop it yet. So because prototyping happens in the winter typically. All right, so those are the triangle pouches. They're going underneath on the triangle pouch bin that apparently I can't reach on the right hand side. I can only reach on the left hand side. And then this will become cake cozies, because hello cake cozies. Da da da. We're going to use that Maneki Neko again because I know for sure that it's the right size. There we go. Alright, everything's lined up well underneath, and then this is where the rotary cutter does come in handy. Oh, hello. I think my phone just died. Alright, let's see here. Yep. Dead phone. Okay, so next time I need to actually plug it in. Okay, let me see if I can make the webcam big or not. I think I can actually... Yeah, there we go. Hello, I am large. Okay, so it's going to blip, and then I'll come back on a webcam here in just a moment. Transition, please. Okay, yeah. So there's actually a fairly like delay between what I see on my camera and what gets actually done on screen. There we go. Now I'm large. Learning experiences. Okay, so plug the phone in. That's one of the learning experiences today. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to fold the MacBook down a little bit, and we'll do what's become the traditional side view of my work. So we're working on cake cozies still. I've got like this pile of fabric needs to be processed for all of the scrap cuts that I need to do from the knot bag cuts from earlier this year. One of those being the cake cozy, and then the rest being like the triangle pouches and all that. And if you can hear it, this chalk pen is so satisfying. All right, well, that's a good point that maybe I need to also look into getting a camera that can do the streaming instead of my phone all the time. So now that I've figured out a streamability, I wonder how that would work though. Are there like Wi-Fi enabled cameras? I don't know. I don't want to have to go buy an iPad for it. I guess I could always pilfer my kids' iPads for it when when they're not home. Oh dear. Like I said, learning curves. That's all it is. Okay, so these scraps that are coming off the side here are not useful for me. I don't know who they're exactly useful for, but I figure probably someone can use them. Maybe good for like weaving or wrapping around, like to make the rope baskets and stuff like that. So they're going into the scrap graveyard down at my feet. Scrap graveyard gets cleaned up when it starts to drive me nuts. It is very close to driving me nuts. I have a feeling I'm probably going to clean it up in the next week because it's just getting a little bit too much. Now, some of these will work with the key fob hardware I already have. Some of them I'm going to have to search for a little bit smaller. They might work with like the 3.5 inch or the like 3/4 of an inch. I have to do math, and I don't feel like doing math right now. My brain is not set up for math right now. That's the story I'm going to stick to, is my brain isn't set up for math right now. Okay, let's finish up these triangle pouches and the scrap cuts, because then I can transition to other work. By other work, I mean transitioning to the grime guides, which is what I said I was actually going to cut on stream today, and it didn't happen. Mostly because the scraps in my cutting room drove me nuts. So this is what happens, is like I'll go and go and go and go and go, and then I'll suddenly hit end point for my untidiness, and I hit the end point for my untidiness today. It's kind of funny. We got a few more applique ready scraps here. These are like the dip cut in the knot bag, and so they'll become appliques for canvas pouches and notebooks at some point in this. Probably, I don't know if that'll happen before Knit City or not, but that would be like best case scenario. And what I offered last year was like pick your own kind of like scrap, and then I could apply it for you. And I don't know if that went very well, but let me know if you want me to bring that back. You can basically, you'll choose a pouch and you'll choose a notebook, and then I can apply them for you there. I can bring my like heat press and do it, or if you prefer just to buy them ready-made. So I always appreciate getting customer feedback, because it's like I am working in a vacuum by myself, choosing fabric, everything. And so like customer feedback is super useful on what you actually want to see, especially at shows and stuff like that, because like obviously I have a limited time for what I can actually do, and so I want to use it to the best of my ability. Go. Now we're gonna fold that, and then I'll square it up based on this line, I guess. Yeah, it's such a good sound. Love the chalk pen. I hope that the mic is picking up that chalk pen sound, because it is just, I don't know, it scratches my brain right. It's so good. Okay. And the shears. There we go. And then we're going to cut down underneath. Now, these are just prep right now. This does not necessarily mean that these triangle pouches will come with me either, but they will be ready to sew when I have an opportunity. I do need to do some triangle pouch replenishment, but right now my top priority is, well, Paula's order for Bad Anna's in Vancouver, and then stock for Knit City, because I do not have enough stock for Knit City this year. Nowhere near enough, to be honest, which is kind of terrifying, but I will get there eventually. And so that stock it's going to be the Kato bags, because they remain super popular. That's the drawstring bag with the leather handle. And I will have a small selection of leather straps with me as well, the crossbody straps. And then what else am I have to restock? I have to restock large box bags and small box bags and triangle pouches. So why I'm focusing on cake cozies, I'm not 100% sure, but you know, I'm tidying up my workspace, and because I don't have the mental capacity to do the math that I need to do for Kato, because Kato right now there's a few steps that I need to do right now. So they all need interfacing, they need canvas, and then they need what do they need? They need their interiors, canvas, and pockets. And I'm not quite in the right headspace to get all of that sorted. Okay. There we go. Scraps out of here. And then there's a nice wide wristlet. This looks like it's probably wide enough for the key fob fabric or hardware. Go. Kit Cozies for the win. And no, that's not quite right for the size of hardware I have, but that's okay. Okay. Oh, goodness, we're almost done. That's good. Actually, so we'll finish up the triangle pouch stuff, and then I'll do the last couple scraps up here that are good for cake cozies, but not triangle pouches. Right, I was debating if it would be good to cut scrunchies from those or not. I don't know. We'll see. All right, so 1, 2, 3. Ha ha ha. That is the wrong direction, apparently. All right, that one got placed different for its not bag cut. 3. Oh, you look too small. Okay. Yeah, you. That's way too small. All right then. So that'll be other stuff as well. It's just like, it looked too small. It is too small. All right, let's see. Yeah, frogs are too small too. This shouldn't be too small because it's the same fabric, just a different color. Yep, there we go. Hopefully. Maybe. Oh, hello. Let's see. No, we're good. Very good, actually. Okay, so we'll do these, and then we'll do the sheep because they are actually just straight cuts, and I don't know what's going to fit on them or not. Okay. The sheep were a mess up because I hadn't cut knot bags for a while, actually, because they haven't been selling very much, so it wasn't something that I focused on because I was overstocked on them. They have now come down in stock, so I will have new knot bags in these fabrics when I'm at Knit City. Anyway, but I was cutting them and realized that Oh, I just cut them straight, but I realized that I actually needed them. I could still cut them on the fold like I needed to, but I realized I needed to actually be this curved section because the curve is what allows me to actually cut the triangle pouches out of the fabric because it's a little bit larger surface area. So we'll see if we can actually get triangle pouches out of them or not. I think the sheep fabric is a little bit wider, selvage to selvage, so we should be able to get triangle pouches of it, but I guess we'll find out. There's ways to make it work, but it's kind of, it makes more fabric waste, and I don't want to do that. Trim that off because I'm not going to use it. There we go. Turn, and then we'll cut. I don't know why I didn't get up and get my rotary cutter eventually, but oh well. Sometimes using shears is nice. So now the triangle pouches will be matched up with an interior, and then I will also interface them as well. Because of their shape, I do prefer that they be interfaced. Hey, Flim Flan, what's up? Hi. Yeah, you're being chat. A chatty cat. Chatty Nico. So, of course, I'm working a little bit of Japanese into conversation, and my eldest, I was counting with them the other day and held up my fingers, and they started counting in Japanese without prompting, which was so cool. I was so excited about it because I did not realize that they had retained anything that I had been teaching them in Japanese at all. So I was like, yes, so smart. Now they're old enough to be doing that, but it's so neat to have proof of like development sometimes. So that was a fun discovery. All right, I'm gonna do the cake cozies here. You need to scoot down just a bit there, buddy. For your bottom line. Perfect. Okay. Here we go. I'm gonna go across this way. Oh, I'm so excited that I figured out like a multi-cam system that looks like it's gonna work overall. So the program that I'm using is Streamlabs. So far so good. I'm just on the free platform. That doesn't mean I'm always going to stay on the free platform, but I like the fact that I'm able to test it out and use, like so far, all the features that I need to use for it, which is really nice because it's kind of like sometimes you get like an app or program and it's like, well, you got to pay to actually use the features that you want to use. So it's nice to have this kind of like almost. It's better than a free trial period because I could remain free, but we'll see. It's not like I end up having to host a bunch of different people on the collab camera or something like that, so we'll see. But I figured I'd give it a shout out because, hey, it's provided me the service for free, so that's how I can repay it. Exposure. Everyone's worst way of getting paid. All right. There's the cake cozy almost done. Okay. Sweet. Now, I think that the white one is for sure wide enough. Yep. And then are the under ones? No. The under ones all kind of wander off in different directions for width. And then the suitcase cats is completely too small for the current hardware. We have our quality control inspector in place, and he is laying on the scraps. So let's cut the cake cozies I want to out of these fabrics, because then I don't need to do as much mental jogging with the sheep fabrics there. And then once I'm through these 4 fabrics here, I will be heading out so I can go get a snack. I will probably be back on stream tonight. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. Maybe. I might. This is definitely crunch time, so I need to be doing as much work as possible. And honestly, streaming helps keep me on track significantly, so I probably will be back on stream. All right, so there's the last 4 fabrics here. The triangle pouches. This is too small of space for the triangle pouch, so we are not getting triangle pouches out of this. We'll be doing cake cozies. Yeah, the fact that the cake cozy fits in the section that the triangle pouch is supposed to fit in without too much extra fabric even tells me that there's no way to fit a triangle pouch on here. I might actually still shuffle the cake cozy down a little bit as far as I can. Yes, because then we can actually, so here's a nice, that should be deep enough that we can make the key fob out of that with the current hardware. All right, where's my ruler? Yeah, that's actually more than enough fabric. So what we'll do is we'll shift it up with a little bit just for fabric shuffling. And then, because I don't think this isn't really big enough for scrunchies either. So yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so let's do this. Gonna move it over and zip along here with the chalk pen. I hope you can hear that. Such a good sound. The chalk pen is such a satisfying sound. All right, and then the last little bit. Sorry, it's just shuffling around so I can actually see the chat again. In case you have any questions, please feel free to throw them in. I'm happy to answer to the best of my ability. And then down here, I probably should have thrown one of the other fabrics on top because honestly, this pink pen or this pink chalk is not really showing up against the macaron critters very well. But oh well. It's what I had on hand, and I don't feel like cleaning up to get anything else when I'm almost done. Because we're almost done. This feels like I might end up having actually... Oh, no, it's not. Right. Okay, it's not wide enough for more cake cozies. So I might just end up making more. I think the rest of this fabric will end up becoming more of the things. Wristlets. Okay, so there's the cake cozy cuts. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn it here. So if you're kind of wondering why my key fobs and wristlets always look a little bit different, it's because they are. They are not something that I'm cutting specifically to make. I am using up scraps. Again, they're another scrap buster project. I'm going to be nice and cut this edge off here, and then there's a little bit extra fabric up top because the length of the cake cozy is actually a good length for the wristlet as well. It's actually a perfect length for the wristlet. Key fob wristlets are something that I will focus on getting at least a few more done out for Knit City. Just because, and then it does get rid of a significant number of actual scraps out of my studio. And because they're cute and straightforward. The biggest hassle with them in some ways is the fact that I have to interface them. Speaking of which, I probably need to go get another bolt of interfacing. But, like, isn't that adorable? So I call them macaron critters because it's like, there's a bunch of different ones. There's like, oh, sorry, I am backwards on the camera here. So there's like, oh my goodness. Okay, so this is my left hand. This is my right hand. There's like hamsters and bunnies, and I'm going to qualify that as a different hamster or maybe a gerbil. There's like a chipmunk or maybe a chinchilla, just in a brown color. Do chinchillas come in brown color? I've only ever met gray ones. But anyway, there's like, I'm calling it critters because it's not just one critter. I really like the lop bunny here in the middle. Whoops, just covered him up. This guy. I think that's my favorite one out of all of these guys. All right, so those are wristlets, and they're set for wristlets. Those are cake cozies. And then let's see, what do we have here? How large do we have here? We're gonna set these aside for key fob wristlets, but I'm gonna have to find. Well, actually, let's trim off this little bit of tail kind of stuff here, because that'll help determine what I can make out of it. There we go. Then I can get the proper width, or mostly proper width. Yeah, so these ones need smaller hardware, and I need to do math for them. But I might be able to get a couple more out of that. Okay, and then we've got this guy to cut down for a cake cozy. And then I am all set for now. So the next step on these is we're going to run them through the serger, and then they get sewn up for the hem, and then I run elastic through them. So there's a couple more steps, and then they'll actually all be done. I really like doing the cake cozies because they're a nice, easy kind of make. I was going to show you the actual fabric here. So obviously a lot of these fabrics are directional. They're not necessarily going to be the correct direction. But since it's a cake cozy, like with these Myco, you're going to actually be wrapping them around anyway. So it kind of makes them the right direction. Makes them cute. So that's why I'm not too bothered by it. The next thing that we're going to do afterwards is I will also be cutting the grime guards from like new fabrics, because grime guards need to actually have quite a bit of fabric and like dedicated fabric. The sizing that I'm going to focus on is going to be 8-inch hoops, as well as the 8x8 frames, because I think the 8x8x11 or the 8x11. Oh no, it'll be 8x11 and 8-inch hoops that I'll focus on, because the 8x11 is just basically one cut straight across. Anything larger than like the 11x11, which is quite a hefty frame as it is anyway, but the 11x11 is a little bit too large to make with just one cut of fabric. So we're going to mostly focus on 8x11 frames and 8-inch hoops. So the 8x11 frames are like the white Q-snap frames, and then the 8-inch hoops, which is what you normally think of when you're doing embroidery or cross stitch. And that's what a grime guard is it goes around the embroidery hoop or Q-snap frame and protects the extra fabric so it's not getting as dirty. Something you can take off and wash easier than like obviously washing the embroidery Ida fabric and all of that. So I hope you guys all enjoyed the actual stream, and I will be back later tonight to actually work on serging all these products. And I hope you're able to join me. And then this weekend I will be on stream to work on items for Knit City and for Paula's wholesale order for Bad Anna's in Vancouver as well. So I hope you guys all have a fantastic few days or a few hours, and I'll be back in a little bit. Thanks so much for joining me now. If you enjoyed, please make sure to subscribe, like, or share this with a friend that you think might